All right. MLO Net Survivor Series, January 2023. Thank you all for joining us. We still got a good crowd. We've been getting anywhere from 30 to 70 people on each one of these calls. We appreciate your support of the Mortgage Loan Officer Network, you helping loan officers all around the country. I look forward to meeting a handful of you in Las Vegas with Scott Groves, February 2nd, 3rd, and 4th at his coaching event. If you still want to talk about that or potentially go to that, message me on Facebook. We can talk about it. I might even comp your ticket. Scott gave me the ability to do that for a few folks, being the generous guy that he is.
Oh, okay. Well, but you won't comp mine.
I will if you want to go.
Messed up, bro. Messed up.
I will comp yours if you get on a plane and you get out there. Then you.
I got on a plane. I flew. I was almost there. I got to Denver.
We'll do it. So, but what today we're going to talk about this morning before we come back this afternoon at 3:00, we're going to talk a little bit about taking LOs that need more, that need more opportunities, need more leads, need support, and how you can build some of what they need with lead generation, with support, with systems, with consistency, with follow-up. And that's what my man TJ Barker is good at. And that's why today we're going to flip the script. We're not talking about me or any of the people in my VMA crew. We're going to talk about your team and what you guys do with your CRMs, with some of your lead gen game, how you're leveraging with realtors, how you're turning one deal into three, all that kind of stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So, I mean, first off, let's just throw it out there right now. And I think, Fish, you and I have been consistent with this message since 2017, right? Lead gen is not, the magic beans, right? It is not going, you're not going to be able to turn on an ad today, spend $10 and have a pre-approval and someone under contract tomorrow, especially not in today's market. And there are so many of the gurus that you're constantly seeing in your messages, on your Facebook newsfeed, and your Instagram feed, on TikTok right now that promise that, but that's not how it works. So now, all that being said, I think lead gen is absolutely amazing, and if done right, can be so Fish, 3 p.m. PST is 6:00 Eastern, just to give you an FYI. Here, everyone, let's pause and let Fisher figure out time frames again. There we go. So lead gen can be an absolute, foundational piece of your business, paid lead generation, free lead generation, whatever it is, if done right and it's consistent with there. So, and that's something that we really focus on, right? Right now, when I say we, I mean, Zach, me, the sales team is really about leveraging lead generation to build relationships. If you guys ever read the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, I think it's Millionaire Real Estate Agent by Gary Keller, might be Shift. One of the things that he says, and I'm paraphrasing his quote here, is in order to have a large business, you need to have a lot of leads. So real estate agents are taught very early on that they need leads. What they're not taught is how to go ahead and generate those leads. And that is such a huge opportunity for us. You saw that picture I put in. I think that's why you asked me to, instead of be a host today, to be a guest, is I put that picture in, what one of our folks did, where they've got 50 agents messaging them after, posting a couple Facebook groups about, helping agents, generate leads and building a business at no cost. All that was a simple strategy, leveraging what we're already doing to start having conversations. And here's the thing, Fish, when you have a conversation with someone about lead generation, does that mean it's going to be perfect for every single person?
No, I mean, some agents aren't going to do the follow-up work. Some agents aren't going to be good partners for you. And at the end of the day, if you say free leads, you're going to get all kinds of agents running to your door, but you better know what your follow-up game is and whether you really have something to offer before you cry wolf. You go out there and say,
what I'm saying is, though, you might have that conversation with someone that may not be a good fit, but you're still having a conversation. Now you've opened the door. Now you have them in your standard follow-up sequences, right? You have them as part of your daily prospecting. Again, whether you're using a greatness tracker or Thor's hammer or, right? Like whatever, whoever you subscribe to, right? Lead generate with Scott, like you have these names, you've made this connection. You're no longer a stranger at this point.
What it reminds me of is that, when we go to, and I promise I wasn't going to too far down the rabbit hole of what we do in VMA, but, we go to teach a class and most people are teaching a similar class, but the name of the class really seems to matter. Like if they call it a name that sounds like it's compliance training, nobody comes to the class.
Right.
But if they come up with a better name, I mean, it's different in different markets, but if they say like winning the war and increasing your business with America's best veterans, all of a sudden the class is full. So it's same concept here. If you frame it correctly, and the agents, they love to hear about marketing. They love to hear about leads, all this kind of stuff. So if you do it right, they walk in the door, and then what you end up having to teach them may not literally be about leads at all. It might be about daily habits. It may be about having a CRM and following up with your database and in different things. But the exciting conversation piece was the new customer lead.
Right.
That was the door.
I mean, that's what hooks people. That's the sizzle, right? Now, like you just said, if that is going to be your hook, you better know how to lead generate. And, I use the term lead generate a little bit broader than a lot of people do. Because for me, it's all about getting a name, email, and a phone number. Right? Name, email, and phone number is really all I care about. I want a lot of name, emails, and phone numbers. And I don't care if it is, we've got a strategy right now. Again, I call it the Jimmy Hobson strategy. It's a combination of what you taught, and Jimmy posted about this back in 2017 of absolutely just crushing Facebook groups. Got a guy who's coming on board right now. He's like, hey, I want to join. I need the help. I don't have the money for ad spend. I'm like, you don't need money for ad spend. You can leverage our landing pages and our follow-up sequences and our surveys, all this type of stuff, and post in enough Facebook groups every single day that you're going to generate 5 to 10 long form mortgage leads for free at absolutely no cost. But again, you had to understand 70% of them, are going to say that they have a 600 credit score. We know they're getting them from Credit Karma, right? So what's that mean? It's 550, right? And you want to do some work, but you're going to follow up with these people. Now, all of a sudden, you've got that hook. You haven't spent anything. You go to another Facebook group full of real estate agents in your local market. You post, wow, I just got 3 pre-approvals for my consumer direct marketing. I'm always looking for good agents to share this with. Comment below if you're interested.
And you just built a database,
How many people, how many agents are going to respond to that?
Oh, it depends on how big the group is, but a tenth of the group. I mean, you could get hundreds without a doubt. You can't obviously give all whatever 100 of them a fresh, pre-approved 800 credit score, 30% down, $500,000 price range buyer. That's
probably not coming from a Facebook group, just to let you know.
That's completely unrealistic.
Right. So I always say I swim in the first time home buyer world. It's what I do. So I focus on. So I work so well with John. So I work so well with Zach. That's kind of who we work with, and that leads to a lot of more of your social media. Again, Facebook. I love Facebook ads. Really, it's more Instagram though.
But TJ, I mean, do these first time buyers? Do they go out of style? Are you guys like struggling trying to find them? And I mean,
so we've never had problems getting first time home buyers and first time buyer leads ever. Now we've had issues with inventory. Back in 2021, summer 21, if I'm trying to get a first time home buyer that has got a gift from mom and dad and needs some seller concessions to pay for the rest of it, that's a little bit of a challenge, right? But let me ask you this. You get that buyer pre-approved and you give that out to a real estate agent. What's that agent want to give you in return? Well, all reciprocity is kicking in.
The reciprocity. So that's, you guys were able to, and you had the conversations like, hey, realtor, it's harder for me to generate the mom and pop next door neighbor lead that maybe you generate from your realtor farming. but I'm still good at providing value to your team. I can come up with solid closable, because it's us, first time home buyers and buyers maybe slightly lower than what your preferred end is. But again, they're still awesome people. They got awesome connections. We love them. We want to help them. I can provide that kind of value to your team. And, over time, maybe we build a better relationship and get to work with all your people. I don't know exactly how you guys.
So one of my, honestly, man, one of my favorite approaches to this, and I love when people do this, is go into Listing Booster or List Reports, right? Whatever it is, and find yourself, go to the listing side.
Mhm.
Everyone's like, I want to see the buying side. I'm like, yes, I get it. Let's look at the listing side. Let's see who has tons of listings, closing a lot on the listing side. The Michael Fisher team sold 20 listings last year. Okay, so one, that tells me Michael Fisher is the listing agent. Two, he's got a team. If you're the listing agent, you have a team, most likely what's your team doing? It's buy sides.
It's buy sides. You got 2, 3, 4, 5 buy side agents. I mean, I just met an agent the other day who's 100% listings.
Right.
But his team did like $50 million with like 4 buyers agents.
So the buyers agents are always asking for what?
The buyers agents want buyer leads all day long.
Buyer leads. So Realtor.com, Trulia, Zillow, very expensive. What about if you call up that listing agent, that team lead, say, hey, Fish, it's TJ Barker, depending on what year it is, whatever mortgage company I'm working for today, type of thing. It's every 2 years. It's every 2 years. But look, we generate leads leveraging your listings. We can feed your buyers agents. We can promote your listings. We can generate high quality leads. Again, relatively speaking, a fraction of the cost of Zillow. Zillow lead costs you $50 to $75. I can get you one for $2.
Guess who's going back into Zillow right now? All the big listing agents that didn't have, I mean, they dropped it a lot because they were getting too many buyer leads. I've talked to a ton of listing agents that are like, oh man, it's so expensive and I can't convert these buyer leads because there's no inventory. Now that the market's balanced, a lot of them are jumping back in.
Right. So again, Zillow claims to be about 3% close rate. I think Zillow does have some of the highest conversion rates in the industry. There's a reason for that. It's also why they're so expensive. But Facebook, Instagram, TikTok listing lead, usually between 0.5% and 2% closing ratio over time. Average lead costs under $3 per lead. I can get, 3 to 5 times as many leads and opportunities coming in for the cost of one Zillow lead. And now I'm feeding that team. And oftentimes I've spoken to these team leads over the years. They're just concerned about their buyers agents having activity, right? Staying consistent, staying in sales mode, having work to do, not getting complacent. So you're feeding them and keeping them from that complacency. Now you have the right to ask for that additional business. Hey, Michael Fisher, I know you're a listing agent, but can I count on you to have your team send me everyone who needs to get pre-approved to go under contract in the next 30 days? We're keeping you busy. Let me show you what we can do. Right? He's like, hell yeah. I'm not spending thousands of dollars a month on Zillow, but I am keeping my agents busy. Plus, they're pulling some deals out of this, some leads, some clients, some contracts. Does that make sense, Fish? Kind of like that approach?
It does. It does. I'm going to go after the elephant in the room here, and we're going to make this one shorter because we keep trying to say short. So the elephant in the room here is like all these LOs that are probably watching us right now and that have seen us in the past that message you and I. What they struggle with is 2 things: the tech part of it, and then also the follow-up part. Like I think they expect the Glenn Ross leads that are going to convert like Zillow at 15, 20, 30%. And they end up hearing, oh, these convert at 2%. And they're like, oh, I am not going to dial my phone all day long.
I say 0.5%. I say 1%.
Yeah. So TJ, I am not going to look at 200 leads and follow. This is just not how I do business. I'm going to go back to realtor coffee meetings. I want high conversion rates of 20, 30, 50%. This sounds crazy. So how do you address that if you're the kind of LO that has time, energy, money, solid sales skills, and I'm giving all you guys watching this a lot of credit. You're good at converting, you're good at sales, but you already know your marketing skills aren't that great. And your marketing is giving you tons of leads, but you're sitting there saying they're bad leads. How do you address that, TJ? What do you do next?
It's
If you've
funny,
got
like,
all
so,
these
so
sales skills,
Zach
but
and I
you
were
can't
talking
figure
about
out
this
how to
earlier
market.
today. So, we all know that I am always 1 or 2 minutes late for these because I have my meeting with my manager every Tuesday and Thursday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern.
And what I just asked you
Right.
is the exact problem that you
Right.
guys address.
And we were just talking about that because we're like, oh, this person says leads don't work here. This person says leads don't work here. This person says leads don't work here. And we start going through and we're like, we've got leads in this state for under $2.50. We got leads in this state. And the thing that we always come back to is, and this is kind of harsh, and I hate to say it, the leads work, you're just not willing to put in the work. And that's the thing. Well, John Thomas, best friend in the world, right? He doesn't need that. He has got 100+ real estate agents consistently sending him business, referrals, contracts over. He doesn't need me to do anything other than run his home buyer seminar leads, right? He doesn't need me running DPA ads and working the leads. But if you are someone who doesn't have those consistent agent referrals coming in, those consistent agent relationships, that probably means you have time. So what do you need to do? I mean, it's just making a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Put in the work, you make the calls, you send the text messages. Biggest thing I see is when the leads respond to you, people turn into terrible salespeople. Follow-up skills aren't there. They're like, no, okay, that's cool. No, not interested. I get it. All that type of thing, right? You have to be willing to put in the work. I believe there are really two, and there's more, but really there's two approaches that you can take when it comes to lead generation. One, you have a decent enough budget, $750 to $1,000 a month. You have got discipline, consistency, and you are calling and you are following up. You do that for 90 days, you will have enough pre-approvals, enough people out there shopping, enough pre-approvals to share contract, to share with real estate agents to build that wall of reciprocity. You can do that. Option two, smaller budget. You're really leveraging those leads as a way to have these conversations, to get in front of people, to start to go ahead and to talk to a mass quantity of people that will say, and again, when I say people, I mean people will refer business to you. Real estate agents.
And how many LOs refer deals to realtors? It's got to be less than 10% of the LOs out there.
Okay, I've not had agent meetings, haven't in almost a year now, right? Because I'm 100% doing marketing at this point. But I'm telling you, when I would have agent meetings, I do Zoom. I always start off with say, "Hey, Fish, before we get started, would you mind just letting me know why you chose to take this meeting with me today?" Because I was either having a dialer or someone sending messages to schedule it. It wasn't me like picking up the phone, but like, "Hey, can we meet?" I can't tell you how many times so I'd ask that question. They would always tell me why, give me all the ammunition I need to start working with them. But they're just like, "I know you're the leads guy." And my loan officers never send any business to me. I've been working with someone for 5 years. They've never sent a single person to me. Not just closed, but never even a referral.
Mm-hmm. Now, we had a call with Matt Stevens on the Survivor Series here a few weeks ago, back last year, actually. And you remember how he was talking about how he hadn't figured out this front end lead gen as well with the paid ads. I mean, he's doing pretty good with Facebook groups and TikToks and the social stuff that we talk about all the time.
It's all the same.
But his whole value proposition to the realtors wasn't promising them that lead. It was promising them that he was going to convert every person that they referred to him into an extra opportunity. And like he tracked it. He's like, "Hey, every time you refer me 3.7 people, you're going to get one back."
Right.
And some of the people that he was giving back were to agents from his other marketing, from his but it was mostly social media marketing, not as much paid marketing. But it was that concept of leverage, having something to offer and give back in return. And so many people kind of think about these things in a linear fashion, that like, I pay for lead, lead comes here, computer follows up, I dial one time, and then everyone gets paid.
It's all part of it. It's you know, it's the Lion King, it's the circle of life, right? Like everything connects if you use it, but you have to have a strategy. You have to understand what you're doing. Again, too often, and I've turned people away, or I've had people join Lola, and I've been like, I don't know if I should have, I probably should have said no, you know, to them joining Lola, because like you said, now look, I can generate anybody the Glenn Ross leads. Anyone. It's going to cost you. And here's what I want to do. I want to generate the cheapest Facebook leads I can. The cheapest. 50 cents, $1, $2, something like that. High quantity. I'm going to filter them out through my follow-up systems. I want to have my dialing team calling them. And they are going to find the diamond in the rough, right? They're going to pan for gold.
Right. The best 0.5%.
And they're going to find that.
Yep.
And I want to send that to you at a cost. And you'll be like, yeah, TJ, you're right. These are the Glengarry leads.
But they cost $200, $300, $400 a piece because of all the filtering that you had to do.
Right. But all we're doing is we're just gathering names, emails, and phone numbers. Right. And we're working the leads and we're following up with them. So
you can apply the same follow-up systems to warmer contacts, to referrals from realtors, to past clients, to, you know, once you learn marketing. And it's like we had this call last week with Kai, and some of you signed up for his paid webinar, and like this whole funnel marketing concept, telling all the LOs, you guys, you got to have more contacts. You can't possibly talk to more people than you probably already talked to. You have to have some automation and some systems in a bigger funnel to move forward. It's just what you're going to have because all the people you're competing against and you talk about all the time, the Rockets of the world, that's the reason they're winning the race to the client, because they have all this stuff.
Yep.
They're not as good as you. They're not as likable as you. Their marketing messages aren't as personal at all.
Their pre-approvals aren't worth crap.
They aren't. They just have bigger lists. They start with bigger lists.
Yeah. So look, you can't beat with them on the big picture, right? So you compete locally.
Yep.
You build your brand, you leverage social media. We've talked about it for 6 months or 4 months, how long we've been doing this, right? Being social and social media, creating videos. I'm really, 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 really high on YouTube ads right now. Like, I'm telling you right now, if you want a higher quality lead, YouTube's the way to go.
Don't do it in Metro Detroit. Stop the call right now.
Right.
I gotta call you next.
Yeah, no, YouTube is the way to go.
Yeah.
You know, again, it works the same way. It's a lower lead, but people are searching for something, so they're finding it, right? Plus Google, they're in a little bit of trouble with the government right now, so who knows how long this will last, but they know everyone you're looking at, every website you've clicked on, every time you go on the Zillow, Realtor, search for getting pre-approved.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all there, you know, but, you know, just having Zach fired me today. And I called up Tim Pasquarella, you know, came back crawling on my hands and knees. I'm like, Tim, please let me back in the family. Right.
I was getting excited. Is this real? I just made this up, didn't you?
Yeah, I would, you know, I'd make sure I have about $3,000 set aside, $1,000 a month in ad spend. I would do a combination of YouTube ads and home buyer seminar ads, and I do some branding to real estate agents. So around there, and I would sit down at my desk. I'd wait for the leads to come in. I'd post in 3 to 5 Facebook groups a day. Again, wait for the leads to start coming in, and I would call. I'd call once in the morning, call once in the afternoon, and I'd probably schedule 2 days where I'm calling in the evening, and probably even come in on a Saturday. And I would call, and I would call, and I would call. People are afraid of the phones, and I would call some more, and I'd have people tell me to go jump in the lake. I'd have people tell me to stop, but I would have people also come in and start having sales conversations with me, and I'd be able to take those, get some pre-approvals out, and then I'd be able to go ahead and share. As I said many, many, many times, I would leverage that pre-approval and I would turn it into another one. And I would turn that into 2 or 3 conversations, because you can only give the pre-approval to one agent, but you can have conversations with 3 of them. Hey, Fish, unfortunately, I already gave that pre-approval to someone else, but I can definitely get you in my rotation. I do a ton of consumer direct marketing. These people are always looking for a good real estate agent. Can we have a coffee, a Zoom, a lunch? Can we chat for a few minutes? And I can tell you a little bit about what we do and see if you're a good fit for us. Paradigm shift. Now you're in charge, right? And I would do that. And I promise you, in the course of 90 days, I'm not saying I have a ton of contracts because, again, you can't determine the market, but I have a ton of pre-approvals in there. And I'd have a lot of people I'm talking to every single day that can send me business.
Wait
and
a
I'd be
second.
well on my way.
You told us that you hate dialing real estate agents for coffee, that you won't do it. But here you are telling me that you would call buyers over and over and over again.
Yep.
What's the difference in your mind? Where
Buyers asking me to call them.
yes,
Buyers give me putting that information, giving me permission.
Yep.
Same way with if I post something about the real, said, hey, I got this, lead, and real estate agents are like, call me, text me.
Now
I'm
you call them all day
interested.
long. Yep.
Now all day long, I'm sending them Facebook messages like, hey, can we hop on a call?
Mhm.
Again, don't ask me why. I got a mental block up here about cold calling.
Because it's cold.
And so many of you do as well.
Mhm.
And because I've worked with you and I know
They
it.
do. They do. And that's the paradigm shift. Like there's
Yep.
nothing wrong with the coaches that are telling people to cold call, but what we're saying is trying to warm people up some way, shape, or form.
They're saying just find a reason to make the call, to have the conversation.
100%.
And to me, lead generation is what I'm passionate about. But I will take this back because we're 30 minutes and, as much as I love talking about myself, it's boring for most of you. But I have never promised, and I never will, that lead gen is just sitting back on autopilot, right? And you will see it again and again and again. And I hear about it. And I got into someone's ads account the other day, and I'm like, you're paying what for this? Like they're generating leads for $50 a lead. I'm like, we can generate the same ones for $2, $3. It's not, and that's why so many people are like, these suck. They're terrible. Right? Incorrect expectations are set. If you can work a lead, if you're willing to put in the work and be structured and be consistent, it will be profitable and you will see an ROI. Do not listen to the people. Again, hey, loan officers, can you handle an extra 10 closings this month? Type of thing. Hey, they're full shit. There's no other way to put it. Don't listen to them. Don't fall for it. If you want to look into lead generation, check out MLO. I have free lead generation training in here. There's videos. They're a couple years old. They're still effective. They still work. You don't need to pay me. You don't need to pay anyone else, right? It's here in the group. So find it, take a look at it. And then if you have questions, just post in the group. Either myself, Fish, Brian, Grove, we'll reach out to you. We'll help you out, answer any questions you may have. So where I have Zach on here, and Zach is a guy who's closed, I don't know the exact numbers, but well over 300 million in the last 4 or 5 years from Facebook ads, strictly from Facebook ads, not his other stuff, strictly from Facebook ads. So we'll have him back on in the next week or two to kind of talk about it as well, because we're going hard with ads right now, and it's paying off. It really is. Where everyone else is pulling back, we're going forward, and we're capturing more of a market share by doing this.
Love it. Good stuff. All right, we're gonna